Hello everyone, this is Plankera, and welcome to my universe. Today, I'm going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. So, past few days, I've been trying to get this lower turn to look as good as I can. And then I want to go and readjust the left and the bottom turn with everything that I fixed up here. So basically, I've been getting a lot of new information from working on this lower left turn that I think I can use to apply, or rather, use to make the other turns look a little bit better. So that's the plan. And here I was doing a big movement on the side bang, because I think that might have been part of what was not quite lining up for me in this area the past, well, yesterday. The past yesterday, yes. There are just several small things that I keep not really liking about this area, and sometimes I have trouble identifying them, but I think this was one of them. I was always hesitant to pull that bang further to the left because it would expose some of stuff over here. And indeed, I was right to be a bit nervous about doing that. But I do think that this location, other than, you know, some shenanigans we're not going to mention yet, I do think it looks better. So if I can find a way to leave the bangs in roughly that area, then that would be fantastic. So let's see what I can do. Because, oh yeah, I do like that. Again, shenanigans aside, I do like that. There's like a little strand coming off there. We're gonna hide him for now. I get the feeling I'm gonna be hiding a lot of little strands. Let's hide the other one over here too. Oh no, that's that one. That one? Okay, there we go. Hide some more strands. We'll worry about them later. Okay, so now I have to figure out what I'm gonna do about this. Can I be lazy and get away with just moving the ear a little bit further over? Let's find out here. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know. I think that's a bit too far. I do think it has to be a little bit further this way. Where do I have it here? 24. Yeah, so 24 is going to be way out there. I don't think I quite have to do it that far. But maybe around here. So I'm going to take a moment to get this ear into place, and that will help me figure out exactly where I need to push the rest of this hair around to make sure it's covering that. Okay, that seems okay. So now let's see if I can pull some shenanigans and cover up those ugly spots over there. I'm just going to try to make everything a little bit thicker through here and see if that solves my problems. But man, I have to make it much thicker in order to cover the edge of that ear there, man. Well, so far so good. I don't think it looks bad. And I should be able to line this up with the left just fine. So yeah, now that I zoom in, it's still looking okay. Okay. Might be able to work with this. I can tell I'm gonna have a time getting all of this to line up around the bottom here, though, so I'm a little bit afraid. Oh yeah, I actually think that looks okay. Nice. Okay, so I can keep that change and not worry about it. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think it looks better than it did before. And then as always, I always feel like I have a little thing to adjust when it comes to these. Every time I move something bigger than that area. But it's okay. Every little adjustment makes it better. And that's always very nice. For me, whenever I try something new, I am still fairly new to rigging. Half of it is honestly just figuring out how to think. Because there's, like, a certain thought process that goes into nearly every kind of activity. And I just kind of gradually start assimilating that information. It's not always stuff that I am consciously aware of or can even explain. But as I continue to piece those little bits of information together, I start being able to make sense of what I'm doing even more. That is the value of just trying things. And incidentally, this is also why I do not think that there is such thing as useless knowledge. You may not always use the knowledge in day-to-day life, but to an extent, if you expose yourself to lots and lots of different ideas, different ways of thinking, and different ways that you have to, I don't know, use information, you'll find many different ways to think. And your brain will have all of these random connections, because the way our brains work is they're less like a computer that processes instructions, and more like a web of thoughts. And that's why one idea can often spark another one, because, well, our neurons are literally connected like a web. And sometimes it's just a matter of finding the right neuron trail to get to whatever it is that you want to do. And by training your brain to think, and exposing it to lots of new ideas, well, when it comes time to think about something important to you, your brain will be ready for it. So for those of you still in school, especially like high school, where it doesn't seem like a lot of the information you're learning is applicable to your life, maybe it's not, but it will give you some clues for how to think about things in the future. And some nice random neural connections that you can use to connect to other things. And hopefully that'll make processing ideas in the future a little bit easier. I think it's a good way to think about it. Okay, well, I'm really loving the changes that I'm making this morning. I'm quite happy with them. For as much as I have thought that a lot of this model has looked pretty good up until now, I think that this is a pretty big step up for me. So I'm quite pleased. I think things are just looking really, really good today. It's funny because I've been having some energy issues lately of just generally feeling somewhat lethargic. And I thought this morning, you know, maybe I should take one day's break from stream and just derp around and rest for a day. Then I was like, nah, I kind of want to work on the model. And I'm glad I did, because, oh man, I'm happy today. Everything looks great. In fact, it's hard not to go work in the details like I was just starting to do there. 'Cause everything's looking pretty nice. I'm pleased. Alright, so I'm just, as always, aligning things slightly. I thought this little bit here might have been just slightly too high. So we're probably going to see her looking down and into the corner quite a lot today while I line everything up. But I think this particular process is working well. I do think that for many of my head turns, I was getting into the details too fast. And that was why it probably took longer than it should have. Whereas here, I'm getting all the hard stuff done quickly, or first, not quickly. Definitely not quickly, but first. And so hopefully, once it comes time to fill in the details and make everything nice and smooth, it'll be a little bit faster. Because everything will already be in place. Kind of excited to see it all finished. And I guess related to starting to figure out how to think about rigging, I think I'm also starting to get a better feel for what things look like when they look right. I am starting to see more problems. And that may sound kind of annoying. I remember when I was going through such a phase with drawing that it was quite annoying, but it's good in the long run. Because once I can figure out how to fix those problems, it means I'll have higher quality models. I've been playing more Infinity Nikki, and I will probably post some more pictures tomorrow. But I saw somebody make a comment that 4 outfit presets was not enough for this game, and I have to agree. I've used my 4 slots. Now I'm gonna have to overwrite one, and I'm a little bit sad. It's okay. I know I'll be able to remake it in the future, but still, I'm a little bit sad. So I think it would be time to say goodbye to the first outfit I made and the first outfit that was in that the first picture I posted. So this way I can make some new ones. So I'm almost through the main story, and that will be mean it's gonna be derping time soon. Where I just go through and start trying to find all the collectibles and that kind of stuff. Although if I'm being honest, I've been derping pretty hard the entire time. I've actually really had to try to focus on the main story to unlock all the features. Because I think if I had just kept going at the pace that I was going before, I would probably just have, like, barely cleared the first dungeon or something by now. It's okay. That's the right way to play those games, I think. You just go out and do what you want. It's not worth worrying about. But I did want to just make sure that I had all the time-gated features of the game unlocked, which is always disappointing when you have to think about that. The joy of live service models. Making you think about what you do and making sure that you are able to grind efficiently. Terrible. It's alright. The game is still fun. I just wish it didn't have some of those things. But I guess they gotta do things to make sure players keep logging in every day. So this way they're more likely to spend money. There's all kinds of interesting and terrifying psychology on that. It's like overall, I'm glad that I know some of the manipulative things that developers do to make you want to buy microtransactions, but at the same time, part of me kind of wishes I didn't. Like, no, I'm glad I do. So this way I don't fall into the trap, or I'm less likely to fall into the traps at least. But at the same time, just the way people can exploit human psychology is terrifying to me. Marketing, very terrifying subject. I took a lot of business classes in college. Yeah, for my degree, it was I effectively have a business minor. Oh my god. Some of the stuff, it's just very scary of how companies are moving away from just making good products and selling them for reasonable profits so they can live a reasonable lifestyle, and just manipulating human psychology to sell as much stuff as possible and get as much money as possible. Very, very scary. I blame the stock market. Honestly, for people that want to learn more about themselves and become more self-aware, I do think that digging a little bit into general human psychology and marketing is actually a good way to do that. Just learning how companies try to trick you into giving them money. It'll give you some idea of kind of the base subconscious nature going on in your brain. And it's maybe a little bit more practical as a starting point compared to some larger areas of psychology. Meditation is another good start too. Meditation's probably more practical, but at least if you learn a thing or two about how people market products to people, you'll get a better... You'll be able to avoid some of the traps that they plant, basically. And you'll probably feel less insecure in a lot of ways. Because what a lot of the companies that rely on psychological tricks rather than good products do is appeal to certain amounts of insecurity. Or worse yet, they create a problem and create an insecurity in people, so this way they can sell the solution. Actually, funny history on that. This is why it's conventional in many Western countries for women to shave their legs. That was a false need created by razor companies that wanted to expand their market into women. And of course, women can't shave their face. So they just started a campaign about having silky smooth legs. And this is actual history. There is no hygiene benefits to shaving your legs. None whatsoever. It's like, I mean, come on, just look at men and how much hairier they tend to be in their legs and, you know, just about everywhere compared to women. And somehow, only women and not shaving their legs is unhygienic. Nah, not how it works. That was a marketing ploy, and it worked very well. Completely changed the culture. It's like, man, once I learned that, I stopped worrying about it so much. Stopped worrying about it so much, and I started looking into other things that people do. It's really bad in, like, the cosmetics industry and various other beauty industries. Of just the way that they try to make people feel insecure so this way they can sell their products better. Very scary, very sad. So yes, arm yourself with knowledge. The truth is a very useful tool. And there is no such thing as useless knowledge or useless skills. Yeah, just gotta find the way to leverage it. It actually kind of reminds me. I remember it was with Vivi, a person that frequents the stream here, talking about how she remembers everyone's and Path Nowhere's heights. All the ladies' heights. And how that seemed like a useless skill, and it's like, I don't think so. Being able to train your memory like that is actually pretty valuable. So for those of you that remember Waifu Heights and gacha games, just think about how you're able to remember that information. And you might be able to improve your memory in other areas of your life too. Just think critically about that skill and how you were able to acquire it. And then you can leverage it elsewhere. Just gotta be aware of your skills and how your brain actually goes about using them. And then you too can be a magic memory wizard. And I actually do mean this completely unironically. When I was a tiny human, I had a very large Beanie Baby collection. I think I had something like 600 to 700 of them or something. And when I was that young, I could remember every single one of their names. It's like I have since forgotten this information. But I remembered every single one of their names. Way back then. And I actually do think that helped with future memory training. Let me practice as a tiny human about how to remember things. And another random skill that ended up helping me a little bit was I am quite bad at spelling. I think that I might be outright dyslexic, based on just how letters tend to look to me. And I was talking in IRC because, you know, I am old. And I still remember times when people used IRC, but there's no spell check built into IRC. So I had to start figuring out how to actually spell things. And oh boy, was that a struggle. But I really wanted to figure it out because I didn't want to look like a complete fool talking to people on the internet. I just can't spell worth anything. And so, how do I describe exactly what I was able to figure out? I started paying way more attention to prefixes and suffixes in words, because I knew that many words were either came from Latin, or I paid attention to what combinations of letters were common when they came from certain regions, for, you know, specific loan words. And that actually increased my ability to spell quite a lot, but it also meant that I could, I'd have an easier time looking at a word and knowing what it means. So it ended up being quite useful. It's like I had learned some of that in high school. We were forced to take weekly tests about them. But I didn't take it very seriously. There was no reason there. It was just a random test that I was forced to take every week. But, because I at least had some awareness about it when I was ready to be serious about my study in that regard, I was able to leverage some of that latent knowledge in the back of my head and actually get better at spelling. So I would not look like a fool talking to people on the internet. Matters less now because now I just use Discord and Discord has a spell checker in it, but I don't need it as much anymore. I'm just better at spelling now. All because I used IRC for a while. It also reminds me that I went to school for game design and game development, which is basically for programming. So I call it a fake computer science degree. And I remember how hard of a time I had with programming for probably a good couple of years until something just clicked. And you know why something was eventually able to just click? Because I wanted to make skins for my forum roleplays. It really was. So I just started, I mean, it's web-based code versus the kind of object-oriented code that you'd see in actual game development. But literally, because I just kept practicing on these little forum skins that I was making, eventually I was able to leverage the right way to think. And it made it much easier to talk to the computer. And thus, I was able to learn how to code better. So I say, no useless skills. And I think this is one thing that is a problem with academics and academia in general. Especially for people that are just going to school to get a job or because they feel like they have to. And that if you have no reason to learn the things that you're learning, it's much harder to make sense of them. If you don't know why you're using it, why you're learning it, and all of that, there has to be a genuine desire to do something, basically. Do something with the knowledge. And then everything will make sense. But man, I remember being 16. That was rough. Because there are just so many things that people make you learn. And at least for me, I just did not get why. But I just happened to be really good at memorizing things. I blame the Beanie Babies, like I said. I just happened to be really good at memorizing things, so I always did really well in school. So I was kind of fortunate in that regard, but in terms of actual learning, I feel like that came later once I had reason to care about these things. It's like, man, you'd think if I was studying game design that it would have actually been a game that made me learn how to code. Wanting to make one, but no, the games that I ended up making at that time were all like text-based stuff. There's a bunch of stuff for Forum RP, and we wanted to, me and my then boyfriend, now husband, wanted to make some stuff for tabletop RPGs, and none of this required any coding. Just math, and he did all the math. He's really good at math. He's the type of person that can see the world in numbers. So he did all that, and I did other things. So no, I didn't need any programming to make the games that I wanted to make at the time. And now I'm just more interested in drawing than I am actually coding and making games. So, here we are. Glad I learned it though. I had great time making those skins for my forum RPs, and I'm sure that someday there will be a game that I want to make. Strictly speaking, there kind of is, but the scope is a bit too big for what I can do without a proper studio, for one. But yes, I have no doubt that eventually there will just be something in my heart that I need to get out. After all, that's kind of why this stream exists in the first place. I got sick of screaming to the void, so I thought that I would, scream into the void more literally. Put it out there for the internet to see. It's like I said, that I'm sure that someday there will be a game that I want to make. And I have no doubt that that will eventually happen. I've been in kind of a weird state where I'm not quite sure what I want to do. So I'm just trying all kinds of things. And lately it's been drawing. Drawing has been feeling really good. So I've just been kind of rolling with that. If I'm in a state where I'm not quite sure what to do, then that seems like a perfect time to just build some skills, so that this way I will have them for once I do know what I want to do. Just gonna try all the things. Build a nice, lovely net for my neural network. And get good at many things. It's like past few years has largely been about raising kids, but now they're starting to get big and they just sometimes want to do their own thing. And not just snuggle with mommy all day. So it's leaving me a bit more time to try some things. And my older one is going to be starting school next year, so that will leave me even more time, and I think my brain just has not yet adapted to suddenly having time back. Oh man, I remember when my son, my youngest, was born. He did not want to be put down. And so I just literally held him like near 24 hours a day. It's like, I know you shouldn't do this, but I even let him sleep on my chest. It happened on accident the first time. Where he just would not go to sleep, and so I'd let him sit on my chest to soothe him a little bit and hopefully rock him to sleep. And I just ended up falling asleep myself with him there on my chest. And it was fine, so I just kept doing it. I'm an extremely light sleeper, so anytime I moved even slightly, I would just feel the tiny one shift, and it would wake me up immediately. So it worked out fine. That's just a light sleeper superpower. But now that he's almost 3, I ask him if he wants to sit with mommy, and he's like, no. Or actually, with the way he talks, it's no thank you. Because the grandparents managed to get him to be polite. Which I thought was adorable, but here we are. Sometimes he wants attention, but sometimes he just wants to do his own thing, and sometimes... Actually, what's been happening a lot lately is he'll want to do his own thing, but he'll want me to just kind of be in the same room. So I can just grab my laptop and bring it up there and do my thing while he does his thing. They get so big so fast. Now they're all becoming independent. I can see why it's a shock to some parents' system. Okay. Well, I think things are starting to look pretty good here. It's like, man, I got rid of, like, most of the shifting here. Everything feels like it's moving as it should. I think I can be pretty happy with this. I think I might move this guy a little further over, though. Yeah, I think that is a little bit better. It's not quite right. Let me see. Let me actually check the diagonal again one more time there. Where did I feel something was not quite right? Right around here. That's where I moved it a little bit too far. Alright, that's much better. Now tackle one of my nemeses, this highlight. That highlight. It just always has some problems. It's okay. I'll do my best to help him out. Hopefully get him into a good spot where he can feel happy. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. There's also like this weird dark spot right here that I think is in the wrong spot. Slide him up a little bit. Yeah, I'm really happy with how good everything is starting to look here. I'm not gonna talk about the strand from hell. I'll worry about that in a little while. I do think he needs to come a little bit further to the left, though. That I can worry about now. And there's a strand on him. I'm just not going to acknowledge it for the time being. I'll worry about it later. That can be a problem for future me. Future me can handle all the strands. Hello there. Hello there, what is that? Desedo? And yes, I will. Don't worry, I do not mind screaming into the void a little bit. I'm used to it by now. And I just like baking things, so it's all good. Well, how are you doing today? Alright, and the exact location of, like, the little loop in her hair there and all of that. I'm gonna save that for a bit later. I'm just gonna try to get the rough horizontal distance all good here. So I don't mind if it's squirming a little bit. I definitely do not want to mess with all of that right now. Because that's always an adventure. Alright. Well, I'm glad that I can make good background music. Unironically, I'm always happy when people have me on in the background. I kind of picked out the atmosphere for this so that people could do just that. Ooh, there. Okay. So yeah, I guess we're going to be seeing a little bit more of this strand now. That makes sense. Just trying to figure out the right angle for him. Okay, I think I might have to straighten out the strand just a little bit here. Okay, there we go. That should help. In this case, I was having trouble figuring out where he should be connecting down to the hair below it there. It was a little bit too wrinkly there. Now it's doing a little bit better. There's still a bit of squirming, but that's okay. I'll work that out later. I think the location overall is good. So there we go. Alright, once again, I think the right side is looking pretty good. So we'll see what the me of tomorrow thinks of all of that. As the me of tomorrow is always pickier than the me of today. So much more. So I guess I will do a little bit more on the left. There's a few spots that I had been eyeing that I think could use a little bit of work there. So I'm gonna look at those some more. I'm just checking the right side before I officially move on. But yeah, I think things are looking pretty good. Okay. Now let's see. How do I want to tackle this left side here? Man, I actually really am quite happy with how all of this is turning out now. I might have to, at the very end, do a pass where I just check all of my turns and kind of perfect them like this. Where I can be very, very picky. Pickiness is the answer to everything. Alright. Let's see here. So I think I want just all of this going a little bit further to the left. Just a little. Yes, I do think that once I touch that up a little bit, that will actually look pretty good. So let's get to it. Still wanting to move things very, very gently. I'm being very careful. Don't want to move things too far. Now I guess I'll start going in and caring about a few of the details. Trying to find the edge of her hair here. Some of the bigger shapes. I believe I discussed that in yesterday's stream, where I think about shapes in kind of a size-based hierarchy, where we have, like, the shape of her entire hair, the shape of each individual strand, and then the shape of, like, these little shadows, the highlights, and all of these smaller ones. So right now what I'm working out is the shape of her entire outer hair here. We've got a strand here. I'm gonna hide him. There we go. We will deal with those strands later. Tiny strands will come much later. So yes, right now I'm concerning myself with large shapes. I'll go in and worry about some of the smaller ones after I worry about the big one here. And things will still be pretty crunchy over there for a while. Don't worry about it. It'll get fixed. Just not yet. First things first, I want to get everything into place. I think I might pay some attention to some smaller shapes soon, because what defines a lot of what makes this area look correct, I think, is in some of the smaller ones. Like the highlight running up here, and this strand running down here. I think both of those, if I can get their relative location and shape right, will do a lot in order to make things look nice. I think I have the basic gist of what the largest shape should look like, that I can pay some attention to the small ones now. Get them all into the right place. Okay, I'm definitely going to want to do something about what's going on over here. I'm pretty sure, yeah. This is supposed to cover this. So it just looks all silly and floating. Oh my. I think I might leave that for the me of tomorrow, though. The me of today just wants to do some basic stuff at the side bank here, and then I'll probably go get some food. We'll see how much more I want to poke at today. I am having a good time, though, because things are looking good, and I am pleased. Let's see, is that the basic gist of that strand? No, I don't actually think so. I think there's still shenanigans with this strand, and that strand I do think defines a lot of the overall shape of that hair there. So I still see some sliding. I'm not quite sure what's causing it. Okay, that might be an issue for future me as well. But before I stop, I want to fix out this outer edge here. So this is me paying attention to another large shape, where I pay attention to the overall outer edge of her hair there. Because man, her hair is just so floofy. Gotta floof it out everywhere. Alright, and I think once I get this little part into place here, that will probably be where I end for today, unless I just get distracted by something else. Always a possibility. Okay, now there we go. I think I have the outer edge looking a little bit nicer now. Again, we'll see what the me of tomorrow feels about it. But I do think that I will indeed stop here for today. So, thank you all for coming. If you'd like me to take a look at your own creative projects, whether that be art, writing, coding, game design, or any creative pursuit you can think of, feel free to message or at me on the social media platform of your choice, and I'll take a look. Maybe leave some comments. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.